Healthcare, looking after you always. Proud sponsors of Real Health with Karl Henry.
Welcome to the latest episode of Real Health with me, Karl Henry, in association with Leia Healthcare. Folks, it is January. We've had Jerry Hussey, we've had John Belton, and I wanted to build on those episodes with my top 10 don'ts for 2023. 10 things not to do this year, mistakes not to make, diets not to try, and just general things that I've learned over the course of the last 22 years that will improve your health and not to do this year. It's always the way in January. People start the year with brilliant resolutions and challenges and big scary stuff all ahead, and for so many people it ends in disaster. We want this year to make it a little bit different, a little bit better, and for you to set yourself up for health and wellness over the course of the next 12 months. Jerry gave you the mental insights, and very powerful insights they were. John delivered some really good physical insights for setting the right boundaries and getting set in terms of exercise and routines and what to do from home. It doesn't have to be that big expensive gym membership. And now let's build on that. So as ever with these episodes, get out your pen, get out your paper, take a few notes along the way, and we'll review them at the very, very end as well, so you have them to take away when the episode is finished. Let's get started. The first one is very, very simple, and it's don't think too big, think small, which goes against absolutely everything that you will read in this month. But big, scary challenges are very difficult to accomplish. They're very difficult to achieve, and the success rate is really, really low. When it's big and scary, chances are people generally don't hit it. So what I'm saying for you this year is to make small changes every single week to improve your health. Now, identify those changes and what you want to do, but make them small, tangible, almost changes that you don't really think about, that they're so simple, such as, prepping your food, getting your big food shop done once a week, stocking the car or the office with the food and the things that you want to drink and that you want to eat. They're simple swaps. Or, white pasta for brown pasta. Again, simple swap, adding more color into your diet, having half your plate full of vegetables. Just simple swaps that you don't really take a huge amount of effort, because we know that chances are you will stick with those much longer and much better than big drastic changes. That 28-day habit changing mode, it takes 28 days of consistency to make these changes semi-regular in your life and in your day. So make them small, make them tangible, make them easy to do, and identify them at the start of the week. So identify what you're going to do, what you're going to change, and just make sure that they're not too challenging and they're not too scary, because unlike everyone else, they're going to be short-term goals when they're big and scary. For you this year, we want them to be long-term. So they're small changes, easy to do, but with big impact on your health. And even simple stuff like going to bed half an hour earlier, watching less television, reducing your screen time on your phone, having tech-free lunch or tech-free dinner. They're all small little challenges which will make a big difference. Parking the car further away, walking through an airport, walking through a train station, moving. All really simple little changes that will make a big difference. Or having a car-free day of home. We've suggested that before. It works really well. We do it with lots of our clients. It forces them to be active and get their general daily movement up. So look at your life, look at work, look at the commute to work, look at home life, and what really simple changes can you make that will improve your health, because chances are you do know them, but you just got to put it into action. So identify them at the start of the week and then plow on from there. The second don't is don't go on the latest trendy diet. We've seen them already. We've seen them over the course of December, all over Instagram, all over the media. These are the diets that, for maximum weight loss, rapid fat loss. Anything with rapid in it is non-sustainable. It doesn't work. Anything that takes out a food group is not sustainable. It doesn't work. Anything that's a liquid or a milkshake diet is not sustainable. It doesn't work. You're getting the theme here. Anything that promises these amazing results and these amazing before and after photographs that are never real. They're in different lights, they're in different clothing, they're in different gear. They never look the same. And people push them time and time again. People in my own industry do that time and time again. Before and after photographs from rapid 30-day transformations. Well, I'd love to see the photographs from 12 months down the line, because chances are they don't keep those results. They're not sustainable. So in terms of from a food perspective, well, you want to save your money and you don't want to make it short term. So this year, eat normally, eat healthier. Listen back through the catalogue for some of the episodes that we have looked at over the course of the last couple of years on how to eat better, how to eat properly. The portion plate concept is a really easy one to do, where half the plate is salad or veg. It's a quarter protein, a quarter carbohydrate. All your food groups, all your nutrients, everything you need, but it's just more color and more salad and veg, adequate protein, and then your carbohydrates. So steer clear of the latest diets. It's not sexy, it's not trendy, it may not be cool, but the reality is for long-term health and from a food perspective, they're just diets. They're quick fixes, they're short term, they're not going to last in the long term. We've been around too long, and for 22 years in the industry, I've seen it every single year. So this year is going to be a little bit different. Just eat healthily, eat normally, jump into the back catalogue and have a look at some of and have a listen at some of the episodes that are there. They'll make a big difference. They'll really show you what to do. If you have any questions, just let us know and we'll cover them in some of the eps. The third don't start off this year by doing what you did last year. It sounds like a fairly obvious thing to say, but actually look at what you're doing now. If you said this year is going to be different, this year is going to be better, this year I'm going to make changes, this year I'm going to do whatever. If you do the same things that you always did, chances are you're not going to hit those targets and not going to hit those goals. But yet we do that time and time again. It's the same old routine after Christmas. We've had a couple of days off. It's all going to be different. And then 3 weeks into January, all of a sudden, it's the same thing, the same routine, the same structure, the same getting out of bed late, rushing, chasing your tail, the same chaos, all of that. That if it's the same, well, then how are you going to achieve or get to where you want to go from a goals perspective? So I would say very simple. Look at what you can change in each of those areas. So you look at different aspects of your life, family, home, work, relationships, exercise, health, and look at what actual changes you're going to make and make it visual. What swaps are they going to be? We ask our clients these all the time. So what swaps are you going to make when you go traveling on your business trip? And they say, okay, well, I'm going to prep my food better. I'm not going to get to the airport hungry. I'm going to use the stairs in the airport as opposed to the escalators. I'm going to park further away in the airport car park. Simple little things, but you're managing a situation and you're mapping it and planning it. So if you want to have that different lifestyle, well, that's what you have to do. You have to map it, plan it, organize it. And chances are you're going to get there. But if you do the same thing you always done, nothing changes. And it's a really simple thing to say, but a very important thing to say too. Next up is about creating your non-negotiables and don't give in. We cover these with Sinead Brady. She talks about non-negotiables for work. Well, the non-negotiables, what are yours? And have you given in yet? 21 days into the new year, have you given in to any of those non-negotiables? Chances are you probably have, because saying no as a culture, we're not particularly good at it. Where if you go to, we were in Iceland just before Christmas, they're great at saying no over there. They're quite frank about it and quite almost abrupt about it. Yet here, saying no is not really something that we do, and we need to learn to do a little bit more. So again, find those non-negotiables. And if you haven't heard that episode, it talks about what are the key pillars or the key things that are really important to you that are not for change. Once you identify them, you stick to them. And you're happier, you're calmer, you're in control, because these are things that are important, and people get to know that that is your day for exercising, that is your day for doing whatever, or whatever they may be. But those non-negotiables, identifying them and sticking to them. The sticking to them is the hard part. Because again, over Christmas, you think about stuff and you look at stuff. It's sticking to them that's really, really important. And if you struggle with that, well, have a discussion with those around you of say, look, these are my non-negotiables this year. This is what is important. Therefore, I can't do this and I can't do that. And, and just tell them. Because then you're being open about it, you're being upfront about it. And people are less offended when you say, listen, no, I can't do that or I won't do that. Non-negotiables, find them and don't give in. That's the big don't. That's the big change this year. You're going to stick to them, keep them, and don't give in. Number 5 is don't settle for anything or anyone that doesn't make you happy. So life is short. We've learned that. And it's important to be happy from every perspective, personal and work. But yet we often settle for things and environments and ways of living that don't make us particularly happy. And for this year, I would like you to say, oh, actually, I'm not going to settle for that. I want to be happier. I deserve to be happier. It's one of my goals. It's one of my targets for this year is to be happier. So don't settle for anything that doesn't make you happy. And that can be from a social network where you might go as a group for a night out or for a work or whatever it may be. Just don't settle for anything less. You want to be happier? That's one of your things. Great. Let's go for it and let's work towards that. Folks, as ever, you are listening to Real Health with me, Karl Henry, in association with Leia Healthcare. We've looked at our first 5 don'ts. Simple. These episodes are pretty much always that. They're getting you to think about your life, think about different aspects of it, and giving you simple steers and simple tips that can make a really, really big difference. Next up is about don't give up when things get tough or when you fall off the rails, because again, chances are that's going to happen. And that happens to all of us. When we try to get healthier or we try to do something, chances are something might get in the way. And more often than not, what happens is people give up through frustration, a sense of failure, a sense of lack of achievement, or, oh, I can't do it, therefore it can never happen. This podcast, for example, this took 4 years to get off the ground, 4 years or nearly 5 years ago now. And we didn't give up because we believed in it as a podcast, it as a concept, as an idea. And it was working consistently for those 4 years to get it together and to get it off the ground. So the importance of not giving up when things are tough. And there were times over those 4 years where it was hard because we got knocked back and it didn't happen, and for whatever reason it just didn't happen, and we just kept going with it because we believed in this as a concept, so we didn't give up. A marathon is exactly the same. You see people that when they hit the wall about mile 18, 19, 20, and they keep going because they're near the end and they're going to cross that line. So that not giving up, even if stuff doesn't go your way, is really important. What do? Well, you reset. You look at what didn't work, you make those changes, and all of a sudden it's easier to achieve and easier to work towards. Because you will have tough times. Things will go wrong. And it's how you react to that makes a big difference for people. So when it does go wrong, you're okay about it, you are mature about it, you analyze it, and then you change the things that you need to ensure that it doesn't happen again. The next one is one that we've talked about before. Don't keep exercising if you hate that exercise. So time and time again, people do exercise they hate. They really genuinely don't like it. It might be going to the gym in the morning. It might be a form of exercise, and they go and they go and they go, and eventually they don't go. Find exercise that you enjoy. Make this year the year that you create something or find something that you have a graph for, a love for, because that's the thing that you need for long-term health. So from my own perspective, I paddleboard, I run, I mountain bike. I do new stuff every year to keep myself interested, but I enjoy it. And when I don't do it, as my producer and sound engineer would tell you, and my wife for that matter, I'm in bad form. So that exercise is really important, but I have to love to do it. And it's important that I find things that I enjoy. And people are exactly the same. So that's one of my big homework tips for you this year, is to just keep trying exercise. Keep trying some form of exercise. It could be Pilates, could be bar yoga, could be aerial yoga, could be paddleboarding, could be, doesn't matter what it is. But the key thing is that you enjoy it and you get the benefits from it. Next up is don't listen to the negative people in your life. Break the chain, break free of it. So we're all surrounded by people like that. I think Irish people are particularly good at it, about being negative about certain situations. But the issue with that is it can make you afraid to take on something new, to try something new, to try and change something, to try and better yourself. You get caught up in a cocoon of people that just really don't make that any easier. So this year, don't do that. Break that chain or break that cycle of negativity and say, okay, I'm going to try and do something this year that's going to improve myself or that I've always wanted to do. You mightn't think I can do it, but I'm going to have a go at it anyway. And then surround yourself with people who enhance that experience, improve that experience, that want you to succeed, and have more of those around you. Because the more people that you surround yourself with that are like that, the greater the chance is that you're going to make that happen and that you're going to achieve that goal. Every success book you read says that if you want to be an eagle, you fly with the eagles. It's the concept of being around the people who do what you want to do. So find those people, and that's what you do. I did it for years with marathons, with Ironmans. I surrounded myself with people who are far better at it than I was, and that rubbed off on me, and that kept me motivated and focused. And it's a simple way to do and break that chain of negativity. Next up is one which I think is really important. It's about don't do chaos. Let's put chaos behind for 2023. Chaos and health don't go together. No matter what anyone tells you, they don't. You can't. Come to the organized part of the world where you organize things. You diary, you schedule, you organize your home, your fridge, your presses, your car, office, your desktop. If you're looking at a desktop while you're listening to this and you've got 50 or 60 things open with 200 emails in your inbox, that's chaos. By organizing things, and Daniel Davies said it last year, that there was the biggest shift he made was to stop being chaotic and start planning his life and organizing his life. Well, that's what I want you to do. It will change everything. It'll change absolutely everything. So look at the chaos, tackle it, take it on. It might take a month, it might take 2 months, it might take more, but get to organize, structure, controlled. Because for wellness and for long-term wellness, it's one of the most important things you can do that is generally overlooked. So if you are that chaotic person, if you're always late, always rushing, always chasing your tail, never having the right things for lunch, never having the right things for dinner, never having the gear in your bag in the car to exercise, that's chaos, and that's a personal responsibility issue. You need to take that on and become organized. And when you do, everything becomes so much easier. It's just an easier way to live. It's a healthier way to live, and you'll get more done. It's a more productive way to live too. My final don't is about just don't give up, that you back yourself. And the backing yourself piece is really, really important. Every project I've done over the course of the last 22 years, from television to podcasts to everything else, I backed myself. I truly believe in whatever project I work on. I'm naturally shy, I have a stammer and a stutter, and I don't particularly like being center of attention, but I believed in the project. I believed in the concept. I believed in the goal of the show or the book or the TV show or the podcast. And every single project that I have, if there's a setback, I back myself, and you just keep going because you believe in it. And if you believe in something or someone passionately enough, that you don't give up, that you just keep going. And you get days where you want to, and you get days where it might be the easy thing to do, but you plow on and you just keep going. And by backing yourself, it's a really important thing. You know, have a listen to the podcast, put some things together that you want to do in terms of challenges, back yourself for those challenges, and commit to the fact that you're not going to give up, you're not going to take it easy, you're going to go for it, and that you really deeply believe that you can achieve it. A different episode today, lots of different angles on things to think about, important things to think about. Look at some of the stuff that we've covered. Food are the obvious ones, and movement's the obvious stuff, but the deeper stuff around backing yourself, not giving up, breaking that chain of negativity, all of those things, they're things that you can do, they're things that you can improve, and they're things that can make a huge difference to your health and wellness for 2023. We've worked hard this January to bring in really powerful episodes with Jerry, with John, myself now hopefully too, that can really make a big difference. That isn't the same old new year, new you nonsense that people push out. We've given you content that will make a big difference mentally and physically, and then from a life perspective with today's episode too. As ever, thank you so much for listening to Real Health over the course of the last couple of years, and we wish you a very successful 2023. It's going to be absolutely epic. We hope you liked what you've heard today. If you did, don't forget to leave a rating and a review. You know where we are, realhealth@independent.ie, at Karl Henry PT on Instagram. And that's it for this week. We'll see you next week for more Real Health. Slán go fóill.
Leia Healthcare, looking after you always. Proud sponsors of Real Health with Karl Henry.